In the news, last week we got our FA Cup draw results. So who are we going to be playing in the fifth round?
Arsenal will be making the trip to One Call Stadium, or I guess Field Mill is its name, to play Mansfield Town, a club that I admit I'm not sure I could have given you. They are currently playing in League One, which is again the low, the same league as Wigan, so they're there. Boy, I don't really know much about them. According to their Wikipedia page, their manager is one Nigel Clough, whose father, Brian Clough, well-known figure with Derby and Nottingham Forest back in the 70s, and with success with those two sides. Other than that, I don't really know a lot about them. They're in League One. This is about as good a result as we could have asked for in the draw. Who
else is left that could have been someone to hope for? Like, what is the next best or worst team that we could have faced that's still around?
Well, the only other team potentially still in League One, still alive, is Port Vale.
Oh, okay. And played this season in the Carabao Cup, right?
Yeah, that's them. Port Vale, by the way, actually is playing Bristol City this next week, not this coming week, but the first week of March. I think theirs was the game that was delayed. Yeah, because the pitch was waterlogged. So that game is going to be on March 3rd, which is a Tuesday. Yeah, look at the calendar, a Tuesday. And they're going to play Bristol City. Who's a championship team. So if Port Vale goes through, they would be the other League One team. If Bristol City goes through, then Mansfield is the only League One team that is there. By the way, of those, Port Vale currently sits 24th, so dead last in League One. Whereas Mansfield Town is currently 16th. So, again, about as good as we could have hoped for.
By the way, I'm glad that we had occasion to bring up Port Vale. I've been waiting for this moment for a couple months. I found something out after we played them, and there wasn't a good opportunity to wedge this in anywhere. But since they've come up naturally now, I've talked on the show before about being a big fan of British pop music, specifically like from the 90s, 2000s era. One of my favorites is Robbie Williams, and I found out that Port Vale is his club, and apparently his club to such a degree that he was named in January of 2024, the club president of Port Vale. So yeah, he'll certainly be hoping that they go deep in the FA Cup.
Huh. I mean, that's a sort of thing that doesn't seem terribly unusual. We talk about Elton John's relationship to Watford, and there's a few of those. Once you get away from the biggest clubs, which of course owned by, whose presidents are, like, I guess I hate to call them serious football people. Well, I mean, I'm sure Mansfield and Port Vale take their football very seriously, but Elton John or Robbie Williams, are big fans of the club. It's not the same thing. There's something ceremonial about those positions too, but it's nice to know there's it is one of the interesting things I think about the English system is that the support does really extend down, like just because they have. We talk about how many famous fans Arsenal has. Well, a lot of these clubs actually have famous fans because people tend to support their local or what they grew up around. So, which is nice,
right? Which that is cool with this sport compared to like in the United States. You're not going to find. It's not common that you would find a famous longtime fan of the Iowa Cubs or the Hudson Valley Renegades or something like that. Like you just don't see that as much with the lower level clubs, whereas these are, in their own way, top level institutions. Even though they're not playing in the top league, they are like the club that you would follow in your area. That's cool about it.
Yeah, obviously, there is the element of promotion and relegation, whereas obviously in the minor leagues, you're that's the level you're at. But yeah, it does say something too that regardless of the level you are, people are loyal to those clubs, and it's definitely pretty cool to see. But yes, from an Arsenal perspective, away to Mansfield Town, this could really only be better if it was home. But you know what? I'll take a trip to I'll take a trip to Nottingham. That's roughly where Mansfield Town is in the Midlands region. So
Okay. And we've got a
that'll
pretty
be
good away record this season. That doesn't give me too much pause.
Well, I mean, we have a pretty good record against, football league sides. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah,
Sure.
we'll be away to Mansfield Town. That'll be on March 7th. So 2 weeks, basically 2 weeks from now for the 5th round.
Meanwhile, in other FA Cup news, Macclesfield did get eliminated, right?
Yes. Hold on, I have the results book in front of me, and I'm looking for it. Yes, Macclesfield was eliminated. The day after we beat Wigan, they were beaten at home by Brentford on an own goal. Which, I mean, look, even the best drop points to Brentford. Is all I'm going to say. I understand where they've been. It's a tough result for Macclesfield, but a good run for them going to the 4th round like that.
Yeah. So then this week, a brief preview of the Wolves match we're about to talk about, but Saka had an interesting goal celebration in which it looked like he was kind of pantomiming with a pen on his hand as his goal celebration. What was that about?
Well, he signed the thing. We got Saka to a contract extension, I believe, running to, I saw to 2030.
Wow, nice.
So, I mean, just, it's so, we've talked about this, right? In terms of players leaving and where will their ambitions be fulfilled and where will they want to be. Bukayo Saka feels that his ambitions can be fulfilled at Arsenal. I mean, he's 24. This is a deal that'll probably take him till the end, his late 20s. I mean, he is. I hesitate to say Arsenal for life because obviously there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then, or even then at 29. But yeah, he's Arsenal through and through. He's one of our own, and to lock him down like that, I think he's as talented a player as this club has right now, and the fact that he's come up through the academy. All due respect to players like Declan Rice or Martin Odegaard, who were brought in from the outside. Rice, Saka has only ever been Arsenal, and it's great to see that's going to continue.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you reminded me last week when you're talking about forever, yeah, even Michael Jordan did play with the Wizards. But yeah, we've got him for a while longer. It's great. Was I reading correctly that he is confirmed now as the highest paid player for Arsenal?
Yes, I believe it. It's fascinating to me how they do that. They seem to do in the British media or the European media seems to report salaries on a per week, like how much they make per week, as opposed to American sports where we treat it as an annual number.
Right.
I don't know why
then the number that you hear most of the time is you just hear the total number over the life of their contract is what I hear more than anything else, and you can think of it annually, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in American sports, obviously, part of the reason that matters is for most leagues outside of Major League Baseball is a salary cap, where numbers are based on like the average value. But you'll talk about contracts being like how contracts are constructed and what that means for different, costs and how do you fit under different caps or escalators or what have you. But yeah, it's interesting. I do feel like it's still kind of more of a cultural thing that we talk about how much a player makes annually, as opposed to in Europe, the conversation is very much about that weekly take home, which I guess that makes it more relatable. I don't know, but when the number is 300,000 pounds a week, I don't know how I'm supposed to relate to that exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't a athletes are paid too much rant. I mean, look, we're doing a show like this. People love this stuff. That's where the money comes from.
Market economics. Yep.
If there's a player on the team who deserves that contract, it is Bukayo Saka. So like, I'm not, go get your bag, son. Like I'm happy for him, financially as well. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Turning our focus to injuries for a minute, I just wanted to follow up on the status of our hospital wing. So we had Odegaard return in the Spurs match today. Who does that leave as still doubts for the near future?
the only one for sure who's definitely long term is still Marino. And again, as we talked about, I have a hard time seeing him Willis reading this onto the pitch for the Champions League final. My suspicion is his season is done, but who knows? He's an interesting cat. He might physically might have the ability. And again, every player is different. We speak in generalities when it comes to injury recovery or averages. A guy like Marino, maybe he puts it together in his back, but we'll see. But other than that, it seems Kai Havertz is, and this isn't so much an update as kind of just a reminder from the last thing we had heard. I think a couple weeks ago it was probably first week of March. So my expectation is, because next week is March. Holy crap!
I know.
But also, yeah, my expectation is that Havertz is probably close to returning. I mean, Chelsea this weekend. The only one that was interesting to me, and I think we saw it a little bit today, Ben White was not on the bench. Jurriën Timber had a rough one, and the replacement was, as it had been midweek, was Christian Mosquera. And it does make me wonder if, and I've heard some rumors and rumblings. I don't know how seriously to take this, but perhaps White is maybe dealing with some knocks of his own, and so maybe not. Maybe he's a bit of an injury concern or one to keep an eye on. But that's it as far as injuries goes. And we talked about the impact they've had on our season. We're as healthy as we've been all year, and it's time to show that.